So I just wanted to go into Revelations chapter 13 and verse 16, where it says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads." So the mark there is talking about the RFID chip, the radio frequency identification chip. That's what that's talking about, because in these last days, we're going to get further and further into the nitty gritty of what's going to pretty much encapsulate prophecy. So, you know, the money system is all corrupt. It's all based off of a credit. The money that we use is called fiat money. It's not real money. Real money is backed by gold and silver. Gold was outlawed in 1965 and silver was outlawed in 1933. I may have that mixed up. I think it was gold that was 1933 and silver in 1965. But they was outlawed, so that took away the substantiation for currency. So being that you take that away, you have an increase in debt because it's in the negatives now. When you have something that backs money, you keep it in the positive, and you can pretty much have a society that's based in sovereignty to for the most part. You can have a system where the money system is flowing properly, but when you take the substantiation out of it in regards to what makes money, then you just have an increase in debt. All you're doing is printing the money in this paper. That's all it is. So when they keep printing the money, that's known as inflation. This is why you have prices of products that go up, because that's inflation. So the debt system right now is almost probably like at $35 trillion, because it's just an increase in debt. This is why you hear about rumors of the market crashing, because that's all prophetic. The market's going to crash, and they're trying to implement this new form of currency, which is digital currency, the radio frequency identification chip. And certain people who won't take the chip, they'll be forced to have to live, just on the other side of it, just based off of how things will play out when it comes to certain people that'll have access to certain things and certain people that won't, because they weren't willing to take the chip. It's the same thing as the vaccine to a degree. The vaccine pretty much mimicked this, but the vaccine is not the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is the RFID chip. The beast is this system. The beast is the veneration in regards to the Baphomet and the pagan gods, which galvanizes this system. This system is based off of the galvanization and the worship of the Baphomet and the pagan gods. That's 666. 666 is just an allusion to the goat, the worship of the goat, that being the Baphomet. The Baphomet is a composite of Pan. Going back to Pan, where you get like Peter Pan from, R. Kelly, the Pied Piper. That's what 666 goes back to. Six by itself is an allusion to Saturn, because Saturn is the sixth planet from the sun. They worship the sun, and Saturn is interchangeable. These people, in regards to the upper levels, they worship Saturn. This is why they wear all black. All black represents, Saturnian worship or witchcraft. And not just all black, other motifs when it comes to the imagery and colors, in regards to the color orange, where that represents sun worship, or blue and purple. They also go into the worship of Saturn. They wear red, black, and white. That goes into the worship of Pan, and so on and so forth, the Baphomet. So just reading on more, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 636. So that's 666. Now, when you learn Pythagorean numerology, and this is something that you don't necessarily have to learn, all you have to do is look at the chart. Look at the Pythagorean numerology chart, and you'll see that there's three numbers that indicate number six, and that's F, and that's O, and that's X. So when they push XXX, like you got the movie XXX, or the rapper who passed away in 2018, XXX Tentacion, and mind you, 666. 2018 is an allusion to 666, because 2 times 18 is 36. We already know 36. In regards to numerology, when it comes to the conveyance of it on the upper levels, the zero just acts as a placeholder. So you just look at the number 2 and 18. 2 times 18 is 666. Not to digress, but I'm just trying to make a point of this overall society. And also going back to the RFID chip. The RFID chip acts as a new form of currency, where certain people will have access to certain things that others won't, because those others won't be willing to take the chip. So that's where it goes into, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, because certain people won't be able to do these things because they're not going to have the mark. You know what I mean? You have to pretty much be tried. You have to go through the fire in these last days. and show your perseverance, show your dedication to the Heavenly Father, your loyalty, so on and so forth. But it's important for us to understand these things. And he that causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. Now that term mark there, let's get into that term mark, because I want to go into the etymology. It goes back to the Greek word charagma, which means the cutting into the flesh. That's what they're going to use with the RFID chip. They're going to put it into your flesh. All right, so right now we in the blue letter. Let's just get it. Now, when it comes to the blue letter, in regards to etymologies of words, which is just the root word, just going back to the translation, in the New Testament, quote unquote New Testament, it's always the Greek. In the Old Testament, obviously, it's going into the Hebrew, because the Bible was written in the Hebrew as well as the Greek and the Latin before it was translated to the English when it comes to the text. And you always want to go back to the Septuagint as well. So let's go to Mark. So that right there, Strong's G5480, that G is representing Greek. So this is the Greek, charagma. So let's go into it. Charagma. Strong's Info, charagma, from the same as G5482, a scratch or etching, i.e. stamp as a badge of servitude, because that goes into the submission to this society. When it comes to this overall system, the mark of the beast, the mark of this system, when you get that chip, that shows your obedience, your obeisance, your submission to this system, this society. Graven. Of mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the Antichrist. This whole society is based in the Antichrist. Everything about this society is based in the Antichrist. The Antichrist is just something that represents anything contrary to the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father and His Son. So just righteousness that pertains to the Bible. The mark branded upon horses, thing carved, sculpture, graven work, thing carved, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to carve it into your skin. That's what charagma means. It means to carve something in your skin, cutting into the flesh. When you look at other concordances, like if you was to cross-reference this, it'll say the same thing. It'll probably just say something like cutting into the flesh. Like if you look at the Zandervan concordance or any sort of concordance, it'll say the same thing. That's what the mark means. It means to cut into the flesh, because that's going into the RFID chip. You see this right here? This is Pythagorean numerology. Each letter indicates a number, or each number indicates a set of 3 letters. So the number 6 is FOX. This is why you have the network, Fox Network, Fox News Network, whatever, because it's a conveyance on a surreptitious level of 666. So Fox is just 666. The movie Triple X, that's 666. Hollywood, they convey these things. It's just that they do it on a surreptitious level. That's the power of the devil. It's rarely going to be overt. You got to know how to crack the code. So when you see the term Fox, when it comes to the news station, Fox represents 666. That's what it represents.